Guys, we're back for another exciting episode of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play presented by Eat Sleep Golf. And I am pumped for tonight's show because I've been following their brands forever. I mean, everybody knows Cleveland wedges, right? Like, everybody knows that name and that brand. And they had a driver that was really good. It's been a few years since I've hit their clubs, but the driver that I don't even remember what it was like 5 years ago. But you know the name Cleveland, right? It's synonymous with the game of golf. And I follow this girl on Twitter, and I was for the longest time like, why hasn't she come on the show? And I asked her, and she's not on the show, so she passed it off to someone else. But that's okay, because we're going to separate this brand because there are three major companies that are within this brand. So maybe we can get her to come on maybe in the next episode or whatever that might look like. But Noelle, I hope you're watching because we're going to have you on the show at some point. You can't get out of it that easy. But tonight we're talking Cleveland golf, and we have a guy that does a lot of stuff with this brand. And Zack Oakley is with us from Cleveland, and I could talk about what he does. I could tell you all of the things that he's involved with. But I'm going to let him take a couple of minutes to introduce himself and give us an overview of what he does. So, Zack, welcome to the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play.
Yeah, thanks, Ricky. Appreciate you having me on here. I mean, there's a lot going on with the Cleveland brand. And, like you said, we do a lot of different things here. And, last year specifically was a really exciting year for us because we did relaunch the brand, and we had, a whole new set of woods and irons that came out. And we also had a brand new wedge for us. The CBX wedge came out, and that's a brand new category. So we had a really exciting year last year with the brand. And I work with the product team, so I get to work every day with R&D and work with, our content team and really just, get those products to market.
Well, that's really cool. And as I said, the Cleveland name has been synonymous with the game of golf for years. And so give us a little bit of an overview of where the company sits today. Kind of what's the, your role, like what's your day-to-day look like and where the company sits today after that relaunch that you just mentioned.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. As you said, Cleveland's always kind of been synonymous with wedges, and that continues to be our focus and short game products in general. We also make putters. We're still focusing on that. But obviously with, we've noticed that in the past we noticed there was a hole in the market, and there was still a lot of demand for Cleveland woods and irons. And they made great woods and irons for a long time. So, we saw that opportunity and we took it. And it's been, real exciting to kind of see the acceptance from the market. Specifically, if you look at, the Launcher HB irons, the hybrid looking type irons, there's a lot of different, lot of players out there that played those in the past. And our customer service team seemed to get calls all the time, like, where's the replacement for this? And so it was really cool to be able to bring that back and to see, we kind of kept it a secret too. So it was kind of cool to see media and even our sales team was like, wow, like we're bringing the brands back. So that was pretty cool. And so, day to day, like I said, we still focus on wedges, and there's still a lot of development going on there. And we're really pushing the envelope with CBX and Smart Sole and RTX3. We've still got the blade wedge in there too. And then, obviously an increased focus on woods and irons.
So in 2018, you released some new products. Kind of give us an overview of what the latest and greatest is, and are we going to see anything else this year? I mean, what's the product cycle look like?
Yeah, so late last year, we launched the Launcher HB Woods, Launcher CBX irons, and then Launcher HB irons. Those were all new to the line, as I was saying before, with woods and irons coming back. And then we also had we had CBX wedge, which was new game improvement wedge for golfers that play cavity back irons. And then we have Smart Sole 3, which is a third generation super game improvement, really great for those players that, have trouble with bunkers or just need a little extra help around the greens. And then we had the 2135 satin putters that came out, which are, really for those golfers that want something that's, got a lot of technology, looks really nice, and they're probably the softest putters I've ever putted with, actually. So, good all around core set of products there. This year we've got, some stuff in store later in the year. If you pay attention to product life cycles, you kind of can probably guess what's coming. I'm not really allowed to talk about what's coming in detail, but I can say that, it's actually the first product that I've been involved with from start to finish, from idea conception all the way through. So I'm extremely excited about this product. I think it turned out great. And I can't wait for everyone else to see it because it is pretty awesome.
Well, that's cool that you have your finger on the pulse of products that you can't even talk about. So that's kind of like top secret stuff being shared here on the show. Now, Cleveland, the wedges are kind of what everybody relates to. Has that been the most successful product for you guys? And are you kind of looking to change that going forward, or kind of what's the focus there?
No, so I mean, the focus with wedges is, we're still going to continue to really, hone in on that. That's our core competency. That's our bread and butter. I think we make the best wedges in the game, and we offer something that's different than everyone else in that we have a wedge for every type of golfer. Our philosophy is not that, one wedge fits all. There's different irons for different players. There's different wedges for different players, or at least there should be. And that's our philosophy. And we're going to continue to hit that hard. We have blade wedges for, lower handicaps, better players, guys on tour. We have cavity back wedge now in the CBX, which is for golfers that are looking for something somewhere in the middle. It's going to still offer you that premium forgiveness, but it's also going to, have some versatility in it and some of the premium technologies that we bring to, our blade wedges. And then we also have the Smart Sole, which is, a little bit more niche, but, there's a lot of people out there that could benefit from something like this where, it's going to give you ultimate forgiveness around the greens and in bunkers. And so wedges is not really, we're not going to go away from that. I mean, sure, there's definitely an increased focus for us to sell woods and irons. And, luckily for us, we've done that in the past and we're really good at it. So, it's another thing to manage, but it's still going to be, Cleveland's still going to focus on wedges, and that's still our, I guess we're not going to deviate from that. But it's just now we're going to have another focus, which is woods and irons.
So club manufacturers put a lot of focus into club fitting. I've been through a handful of fittings just in the last year, just working with different club fitters. And, whether you're spending a half an hour on the range fitting one iron, you're spending 3 hours in the range hitting everything, going through TrackMan and looking at all that data, the dispersion, yada, yada, yada. So what is the process like for someone buying a set of Cleveland clubs? Can they get fit specifically for the Cleveland clubs? And then to the club fitters, is there an opportunity for them to become certified in Cleveland club fitting?
Yeah, so we have a standard fitting cart packs that, we send out to our accounts, and so people can go to, Cleveland golf dealers. They can get fit. That involves getting fit for the correct shaft, making sure you have lie angles that are, the right lie angles. Length is obviously something you look at, and model selection too. I mean, a lot of players, think they should be playing a certain type of iron, and maybe they benefit from, something with a little more forgiveness. Maybe that better player is looking for something that's a little more workable. There's definitely that conversation that can be had. With Cleveland, we're kind of, we've basically engineered a lot of these products to be, I wouldn't say it's not, there's an increase. Obviously, fitting is really important. These products are more for that golfer that's looking for something that's a little more affordable. So we don't have a bunch of, different aftermarket shafts in that particular, there's aftermarket shafts in the fitting kits, but they're not meant, these clubs are really meant for that golfer that's looking for something that's a little more affordable. And in my opinion, actually, the stock offering is really going to fit most golfers. Obviously, it's important to get your lies checked and make sure length and everything is in order. But the product itself is really good the way it's been produced. And then we also do have some options for golfers that, they really do want to have something that's a little heavier, something that's a little bit stiffer. Those are in the carts as well. And in terms of getting, Cleveland Golf certified, it's golf is golf, and guys that have been doing it for a long time, they can fit anyone into anything really.
So I live in Naples, where there are a lot of retired folks. That allows me to easily relate to Grandpa Jamie. So talk about who that is, what that campaign's all about, and how much fun you guys are having with that stuff.
Yeah, so Grandpa Jamie, that was a fun one. I remember when we were kind of bouncing ideas around, what do we want to do? We knew we wanted to do something that was kind of something that would kind of liven up the brand a little bit, and kind of bring some life to it. Obviously, we had a big club launch in the fall. And then, when stuff turns to the spring, it's kind of like, you got to reset that a lot of times, around the country, golf is just starting in the springtime. So kind of trying to bring the buzz back from the fall. And so we came up with this idea that, we had Jamie Zidlowski on our staff now. How funny would it be to go and get him and dress him up as a grandpa and take him out and have him kind of prank some people. So that was a really cool thing to see. And, I think the reception was much better than we actually even expected. I mean, we got a lot of good comments on there. You always expect there to be some negativity, but there actually wasn't a whole lot. And it was funny because I actually saw Jamie probably about a month ago or so. I was down in Arizona. We were doing some event, and he was talking about how even the guys at his club were giving him a hard time, saying like, oh, really, just kind of giving him a hard time for being, Grandpa Jamie. So it was pretty cool. And he enjoyed it a lot. And, I think in the future, we're hoping to maybe, try and, build off that, do some other types of things similar to that with Grandpa Jamie. So it was pretty cool.
I think he should come on this show and be dressed completely in just the whole half hour, just be that. Like, I'll ask him questions about his favorite, his favorite pudding flavor, and like that could be really fun.
He would totally pull it off too. I think he enjoyed it a lot, actually, more than he thought he was going to enjoy it.
Now, Cleveland works with a ton of tour players. I mean, I've seen Noelle post and stuff. She's on the range with a different tour player, it seems like, every day. So she's definitely got her finger on the pulse of that. What kind of laundry list of players are you working with, and who are some of the players that are more keen to help with the actual development of the product line?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked because, specifically for, products that are coming out this fall, we did a lot more development than we have done in years past, I guess. A lot of times, we take prototypes out there and we have guys, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And, they kind of give us our input. But this time, I think, was one of the first times where we really started on tour as opposed to bringing something we already kind of had out there. We kind of started from the tour and said, okay, what do you guys need? What do you guys want? And, I think the next batch of products is really going to emulate that because we did start from there. And, we did work with Mr. Johnny Wedge, John Curran. He's one of our staff guys, and he's one of the better wedge guys on tour, and he came out and did a lot of testing early last fall, which was really cool. Obviously we work with Graham McDowell and Keegan Bradley. There's a bunch of other tour guys, Will McGirt, you can go on and on. We have a pretty large staff out there. The good thing is that they're all really good guys. And, I've met Russell Knox as another good one. And we've, obviously our tour staff works pretty hard out there, and we've even got prototypes out on tour a little earlier this year, as opposed to years past, which is always really good to see that, stuff that's going to come out is already being adopted on tour. And that's always exciting.
So the PGA Merchandise Show is like a toy store for golf equipment and brands and shoppers and pros. Like it's bananas, right? So were you at the PGA show this year, and kind of what was that experience like for Cleveland for the 2018 season? I know you're just releasing some products, some more stuff coming up. So what that looked like this year?
Yeah, so this is my second year at the PGA show. The first year is always, pretty exciting. It's, if you've never been, it's something that's just like you're in golf heaven. There's so many different things going on. I was about a half a year. I was probably 6 months into my new job. So I was not really on duty with media interviews and stuff. So I got to walk around and check it out. This year I was, fully immersed in it, and I was doing interviews left and right and talking to different people. But yeah, there was a pretty increased, buzz about the Cleveland brand, obviously with new stuff. And I think we had also done some stuff with Jamie Zidlowski. He was on Golf Channel. We did, a little Q&A, little driving clinic. And if you've ever had the opportunity to watch him hit golf balls, it's unlike anything you've ever seen. And it's actually really humbling because you kind of just wonder why you play golf when there's people out there that can hit the ball like he does. So that was really cool. And, obviously we got a lot of questions about Jamie and, with the, the launch of the new clubs, there's a lot of people that were I feel like it was, a good time, for people to reflect and say, this is it's good for the industry that Cleveland's coming back. You know, kind of brings back a lot of warm fuzzies from products in years past that people played. You know, with the launcher name kind of being a part of it, you know, we sold a lot of those clubs. And, you know, same thing with the irons. You know, there's a lot of people that played those products in the past. So it's good for the brand and good for the game.
That's really cool. Yeah, the PGA show is just, I mean, it's almost impossible to explain what it is. You need to just go and see it. Like, it's just something else to see. So let's say somebody that's watching at home wants to hit these clubs, try them out, experience them, try them, buy them. Where can they go? Is it at every merchandise, you know, every retailer, PGA store, et cetera? Or what's the best way and easiest way for somebody to go try and buy these clubs?
Yeah, so we're in a lot of, you know, the big key accounts, your PGA Tour superstores, you know, Roger Dunn, Edwin Watts, Golf Mart, you know, a lot of the big players. You know, specifically if there's a store nearby, you just go on the Cleveland Golf website and we have a dealer locator on there, and you can basically look and see what clubs have them, you know, what stores near you have them. That's probably the easiest way. And yeah, go try them out, go hit them. You know, I think a lot of people would be surprised at how easy the launcher HP irons are to hit. Jamie Sadlowski was hitting those at an event not too long ago. And for those of you that don't know, they're hybrid looking irons. So they don't look like something a tour player would use at all, actually. But even he was hitting them and he was like, wow, these are like the easiest things I've ever hit. So if you're looking for forgiveness, those are a great option.
Now, you talked about how far he hits the ball. I hit it like 260, 265. Okay, I'm no slouch over here. I mean, he flies at 310, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, he hits it. I mean, he might even fly it further than that. We played around out at, I can't remember the name. We were playing a course out in Arizona, and the 18th green is probably, I think it was like 310 to the pin, and he hit utility iron to the green. He hit it, I think it was a 3-iron to the green. It was kind of like, really? Like that's it's pretty humbling for sure.
Well, when he comes on this show, he is required to dress up like a grandpa, because that'll make me feel just a little bit better, even though he's hitting the utility iron 310 yards. That's like driver wedge, maybe driver 9 for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty impressive to watch. Actually, I think the best part about that story is that I was standing on the green when it happened. I was putting. I was in the group in front putting out, and there's this ball that flies on the green, and you could just see Jamie on the tee kind of waving at us.
That's awesome. Now, Cleveland is insanely active on social media, over 100,000 Twitter followers, which is awesome. So how important has social media been to the brand and the marketing of new products that are coming out from Cleveland?
Yeah, no, we've been extremely active on social media, and you got to give a shout out to Noelle Zavaleta. She's been, pretty amazing for us there. And she's been wearing a lot of different hats over the course of, her time in the marketing department. And she's done a really good job managing that. And, I think it's something that we're always striving to improve. And, especially in today's world where social media and digital and, a lot of, screen time is really important. It's a great way for fans and for golfers to connect with brands and really kind of learn, about, obviously there's, marketing and products, but really get to know kind of what that brand is and who, what that voice is of that brand. And that's something we're always in looking at and continuing to improve on.
Well, that's awesome. It's really cool to see the brand kind of coming back and being very present again on social media and everything that the brand has stood for and the history of the brand. Because, you see, even recently in the last 3 to 5 years, you've seen golf brands, some kind of come and go, some kind of go away.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Hogan Golf was on this show not that long ago, and their CEO was talking about kind of their relaunch, and their new model is you're not going to go to the store and buy it. You're going to order it and save money from not having to go to the store. And, the whole just the model is a little bit different, trying to be a little bit more direct to consumer. And it's interesting to see kind of how, with the way that millennials specifically are shifting their way that they communicate online and how they buy online, that big brands are, one, relaunching, and two, finding new creative ways to be able to get in front of the public. And one thing that Noel's doing a really good job of is putting a lot of people in the content, pictures of people, not just look at this club and look at how great it is and here's the data. It's an actual person, whether it's a PGA Tour pro or someone on the range, be it Grandpa Jamie, hitting golf balls. It's just really cool, and a tip of the cap to her for all that she's done with that brand. So that's really cool. Now, we're halfway done, and we've talked business all the way up to this point, but now we're going to have a little fun as we enter the back nine. So the back nine is just fun, random golf questions. So I know you're a baseball player, which we'll talk about here real quick, but you're also a golfer, I assume. You can't work for a golf brand and not be a golfer. So you ready for your back nine?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
What's your favorite golf movie?
Favorite golf movie? Oh, well, this pains me to say. I like Tin Cup.
Oh, it's so good. That's awesome.
It's a great movie, but I guess I'm a little sour on it because I had my own tin cup moment a few weeks ago, and I put 3 balls in the water on 18, and it was just I had a really good round going. I mean, it wasn't the career day, but it was a pretty solid round, but it was totally just spoiled by my own tin cup Jordan Spieth moment there on 18.
Tin Cup Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth's like Tin Cup 2.0.
Oh, I know.
So I assume you're playing Cleveland clubs, but what golf ball are you playing?
I'm playing the Srixon XV right now. I've been testing the Z-Star XV, but I've been testing the Z-Star the last couple rounds just to try to see if there's a little bit more help around the greens. But primarily the XV is kind of where I reside. I've always liked a little firmer golf ball. Launches a little higher. It seems to go a little further for me. A lot of players have seen success switching to a lower compression golf ball. Like you said, I played baseball, so my swing speed has always kind of been something that's, that baseball swing has transferred over. So I've always kind of played higher compression stuff.
So you mentioned Arizona. I used to live in Scottsdale, and every year on Thanksgiving break, we go over to San Diego because we are huge craft beer people. Mm-hmm. We spend a lot of time in San Diego. There's over 100 brewing companies in San Diego County alone. What are a couple of your favorite beers in that market?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I mean, you look at Ballast Point, that's an obvious answer. Ballast Point, Sculpin IPA is done. That's a really good beer. One of my favorites is actually Coronado Brewing Company. They have an Orange Wit Avenue is what it's called, and it is phenomenal. I love that beer. I've always been, I always like IPAs, but that one is, a little bit fruitier, but, it's not too fruity. It's pretty good. I think that one's really good. There's actually St. Archer's out there as well. St. Archer IPA is really good. I'd say those are 3 really good ones. I mean, Stone IPA is really good. I'm actually originally from Northern California and actually not too far from Chico, where Sierra Nevada is. So I have to shout out Sierra Nevada as well. That's also another good one.
You just mentioned a bunch of good beers. I have wine in my glass right now. I know I need to switch over and have a beer. And I don't know if you've been to Coronado Brewery, but like right there on the island, you can walk out, turn left, and the water's right there. Like that's an incredible spot for a brewery too. So.
Oh, phenomenal.
Now, the hashtag launch it kind of fits the brand, the launcher, but who came up with that? Are you just sitting around a table one day and somebody says, hey, let's use hashtag launch it? Or what's the story there?
The launch it. I remember having several 2-hour meetings trying to come up with what's the slogan, and you go through a lot of different variations, and then someone has a good idea, and then you kind of brainstorm, and then after a while well, I don't know. And I want to say that I'm trying to remember exactly who came up with it. I can't remember, but I remember hashtag launch it. Don't just hit it, launch it. That was one that was one of the finalists, and eventually I think we just kind of settled on it, and I think it actually fits really well. It's one of those things, and we see it in product development as well, where you have a design or you have a slogan, or you have something like that, and it's really cool at first. You're like, this is awesome, and then you sit there and look at it for a while, and then eventually you're like, well, I want something new or something different, even though you've already got something that's really cool. So I think the trick is always trying to find that happy medium of oh, this is actually really cool. It's just you've been staring at it too long. It needs to get out in front of other people. We go through that quite a bit.
So real quick, hashtags are like my obsession. I have them hanging on my wall at work. My nickname is hashtag Ricky. My golf tournament that I host has a hashtag. The vacations we take have hashtags. And I had a conversation on Twitter just last week about naming a child hashtag. And someone did. And I thought that was funny, but they just named the child hashtag. And I'm thinking, I'd take that up a notch. I would name it hashtag. Actually put the hashtag in front of the name, and you'd be at the top of the alphabetical order list, right? Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
You know, there's a course in Arizona that put a short course on their range a few years ago, and they sent out a call to all of the folks in the Trin corporate office, and they said, what should we name the course? And the course is Ak-Chin Southern Dunes. So I immediately fired back. It's a 6-hole short course, mini, #mini dunes. And the first feedback was, that's stupid, no way that's going to happen. And 3 months later, we're going to name it #mini dunes. So that's a little, I mean, hashtags are like all around us, right? Like I just, it's my thing. So that's cool that you guys put that much effort into #launch it. Now, you play baseball in college. I don't follow baseball because they won't let Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame, but are you still following the majors, and do you miss playing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel like every time, you get to this part of the year, and, I still have several, old teammates that are playing minor league ball. I have some guys that are playing in the big leagues, or guys that are just about to break into the big leagues. So it's always, it's always bittersweet. You look at it and it's like, oh, it's baseball season, but you do miss it. It's been exciting. I'm a Braves fan, and the Braves are having a solid start so far. We won't get too excited until we get a little further into the season, but they seem to be, at least, have a good solid squad, and for years to come, hopefully they'll be competitive.
So, side question. I mean, thoughts on Pete Rose? Should they let him in? I mean, do you think he should be in the Hall?
I think so. To me, it's like that was, he wasn't throwing games. He was betting on his own team. I mean, yeah, it was probably not like the right call at the time, but it could have been a lot worse. And there's you look at the whole steroid thing, and there's guys in the Hall of Fame that did steroids that, we'll never know. And so there's a lot worse things he could have done. And, I don't really see it as a big deal. He was the best hitter that ever lived. So, it's hard to keep him out.
That's a good answer. Now, let's, again, tip of the cap to Noelle for getting you on the show. Not fair that she gets to dodge coming on, so I'm going to make sure she gets on the show some point, whether this season or next. Like, let's get her on. And talk a little bit more about how you guys work together. Are you working with her on a daily basis, or is she just kind of out there doing her own thing, or are you on the same team? Kind of what's your professional relationship there?
Yeah, so Noelle is we don't do anything. I guess our two jobs are pretty separate. I mean, we do a lot of there's anytime there's some product, anytime product is needed or product knowledge is needed, she comes to my team. But the professional relationship is pretty, it's pretty funny. We have a lot of fun in the office. I feel like our team has a really good, good core group of people. Noelle she's good to have around the office, and she works really hard. I like to give her a hard time about different things. One of the things we give her a hard time about is her love for Jordan Spieth. He's actually my favorite golfer too, but no one really gives me a hard time. Like, she's got Jordan Spieth posters on her desk, and we're like, he's not a Strixon Cleveland guy, right? It's pretty cool, and I'm glad she's around, and we'll continue to give her a hard time. We'll get her on the show. That'd be great.
And I'll make sure to give her a hard time too about Spieth. So that's fine. I know his coach real well, so that would be fun.
Yeah, no, that's good. She was lucky enough to get to meet Jordan at Waste Management last year, and she works with tour guys all the time.
Right.
But she was like, yeah, I was really nervous for that one. And she got a picture, so she got her picture with him up on her desk, which is kind of funny. But
I don't know how old she is, but I'm pretty sure she's older than him because he's like 22. He is. Yeah.
She's older. She is older than Jordan, so it is kind of funny.
So, two-part question: what's the best course you've ever played, and the worst course you've ever played?
Oh, best course I've ever played. That's a tough one. I look at I've had the opportunity to play Torrey Pines South, which was, that's really cool. Obviously there's a lot of history there. I played La Quinta Country Club not too long ago out in Indio, La Quinta, Indio area, and they have the Career Builder Challenge out there every year. That was probably the nicest course I've ever played in terms of, it's a private club, and it's upkept really well. I've had the opportunity to play Wilshire Country Club up in LA, which is, obviously great condition. Worst course I've ever played, probably the course in my hometown of Yuba City, California. It's called Mallard Lake, but we called it the Crusty Duck because it was.
That's awesome. They should change their name to that. That's fantastic.
They really should. I don't even know if it's still around, but that was. I mean, it's a course I guess I kind of learned to play on, but man, that was that's the new definition of a dog track, and I don't know that I've ever seen a golf course that's in worse shape than that one.
That's awesome, the Crusty Duck. Now, I don't know if Noel told you, but I'm Tiger's biggest fan. He's not a Cleveland or Strixon guy, but be very careful how you answer this because he's watching you. He's all around you. Do you think he breaks Jack's record? Why or why not?
Oh, it's such a tough question. I mean, I want him to. I definitely want him to. I think it's great to see him back this year. It's great to see that he's, seen some success. I definitely think he's going to win again. Whether he breaks Jack's record or not, it's kind of hard to say. I would think, you look at kind of his the last couple years, and he obviously hasn't had as many opportunities as he would like for someone that's chasing down the record. And then, I think the one thing is, depending on how much time he's able to practice and how much time, if he can practice and stay healthy, you look at kind of his pedigree. He hasn't really won a major since he's been a father either. Which I think plays a big role in terms of, he obviously hasn't been able to practice as much. He's won on tour because he's so great, but obviously major championships are kind of a different echelon of winning. So hard to say. I want him to. I can't really say at this point whether he will or not. If he gets one in the next year or two, I think he's definitely back on track. If not, then he's going to be pushing it, but we'll see. Hopefully he does it. That'd be great. I'd love to see it.
He can win at Augusta and St. Andrews until he's 50 or older.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. If he can continue to play well at Augusta, he's always got a chance to win there. Same thing with St. Andrews. So, if he can just, hit the ball a little straighter off the tee, he's good enough, everywhere else, and, just get it rolling on the greens, and he'll be in contention. It's been fun to watch this year for sure.
Yeah, because I don't watch if he's not playing. So nice to be able to sit there on Sunday and watch. I love it. The last tournament that he played in, he was barely made the cut. He made the cut on the cut line, and then he was on the top of the leaderboard and almost won the thing. So I mean, he was like 9 shots back on Sunday, but it's what it is.
Frustrating because it's like, dang, that's probably 2 or 3 tournaments that he would have at least been in the lead or tied for the lead on Sunday had he had a better round on Thursday or Friday. It's like, gosh, man, like.
This close.
He's close. I think he'll win this year. I think he will win this year. Hopefully it's one of the big ones. That'd be exciting. Or at the very least, we'll get him in the Ryder Cup and see some fireworks there. That's always exciting.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. It's great to learn more about the relaunch of the brand and kind of some of the new products coming out, and the fact that you're hitting hearts with Grandpa Jamie, and I'm serious. We're going to get him on the show because that would be fantastic to have a half an hour conversation with him. But your last question of your hashtag Wednesday match play is, what's next for Cleveland Golf?
What's next? Well, we're really excited for this fall. Like I said, we've got some really exciting products in store. This fall. From my perspective, we're actually kind of. My team's already passed that on. So the products for this fall are kind of in the content team. They're, working on, advertisements and getting commercials ready and whatnot. My team's working currently on product for next fall. So that's what's next for me, which is always really, really crazy to think is that, we just launched products and now we're working on next stuff, within weeks of launch. So that's always really, really fascinated me. But, it's, thanks again for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. It's always a great opportunity to get and talk about the greatest job in the world.
That's awesome, man. Well, I followed you on Twitter too, so I look forward to staying in touch with what you're doing and all of the IPAs you're doing. I'm a huge hophead, so I can totally appreciate a good IPA. So
absolutely.
This episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play will be on iTunes and Google Play via podcast. It'll live on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook, Twitter. If you need to find it, it's not hard to find it. But if you do have issues finding it, click the subscribe button down below so you never miss an episode of this show. And as always, on the hashtag Wednesday Match Plays, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.